Queen Xylara of the Zentari Empire sat upon her crystalline throne, her iridescent scales casting rainbow patterns across the arena's observation deck. Another day, another victory celebration. How utterly, devastatingly boring. Below, in the grand arena of 7 moons, her champion stood victorious over yet another fallen challenger. The crowd of various species, from the towering Krovax to the diminutive Pixley, roared their approval. But their cheers held no thrill for Xylara anymore. Not when the outcome was as predictable as the rise of their binary sons. "Your Majesty appears less than enthused," her chief advisor, Nekthos, hovered nearby. His tentacles swayed with careful consideration as he spoke. Xylara flicked her primary sensory ridge. "Tell me, Nekthos, how many challenges have we witnessed this cycle?" "Precisely 47, your luminescence." "And how many victories?" 47, your radiance." Exactly. Xylara rose from her throne, her ceremonial armor clicking softly as she approached the observation window. The arena spread out below like a magnificent jewel, its force field dome shimmering with protective energies. The latest defeated challenger was being carried away on a gravity stretcher, while maintenance drones already worked to clean the purple blood from the fighting surface. The Zentari Empire had ruled this sector of space for 10,000 years, their martial superiority unchallenged, their combat techniques unmatched. The arena itself was a testament to their dominance, a perfect circle 3 kilometers in diameter, surrounded by seating for 2 million spectators. The walls were made of living crystal that pulsed with the collective emotions of the crowd. Right now, they throbbed with the dull red of satisfied bloodlust. Perhaps Nekthos ventured, we could modify the challenge parameters? Add additional obstacles? Multiple opponents. Xylara waved 3 of her arms dismissively. "We've done all that. Remember the Grand May last season? 20 of the finest warriors from the Orion Arm, and our champion still finished them in under 6 minutes. She turned to face her advisor, all 4 of her eyes narrowing. "No, what we need is something different." The arena's announcement system blared to life, its artificial voice echoing through the chamber. "Victory to champion Kraz Thul of the Zentari Empire. All hail Queen Xylara, supreme ruler of the 7 moons, conqueror of the spiral arm, and undefeated sovereign of the combat arts." Xylara suppressed a yawn. The same titles, the same accolades, the same tedious ceremony. Even the way Kraz Thul strutted around the arena, showing off his cybernetically enhanced muscles and chrome-plated battle armor, seemed like a rerun of countless previous displays. From her vantage point, she could see the various diplomatic boxes where representatives from 100 different species watched with carefully neutral expressions. They all knew the score. Challenge the Zentari, lose to the Zentari, pay tribute to the Zentari. It was the way of things. "Your Majesty," Nekthos interrupted her thoughts. "The victory feast awaits." "Cancel it," Xylara declared suddenly, causing her advisor's tentacles to twist in shock. "But the traditions are as stale as 3-day-old nutrient paste." Xylara turned to face the gathered courtiers, who immediately straightened to attention. "We need something new, something unpredictable." Her sensory ridges quivered with sudden inspiration. "Tell me, when was the last time we had a human in our arena?" The silence that fell over the observation deck was absolute. Even the crystal walls seemed to pulse with a new frequency, shifting from red to an uncertain amber. Nekthos cleared his throat sacs nervously. "Your Majesty surely jests? Humans are. Well, there. Exactly what we need." Xylara finished, a predatory smile spreading across her scaled features. "Send the word through the diplomatic channels. Queen Xylara of the Zentari Empire requests a human duelist for her arena. Let's see if they're truly as interesting as the rumors suggest." As her courtiers scrambled to comply with her wishes, Xylara returned to her throne, feeling truly excited for the first time in decades. Finally, something different. Finally, a chance for real entertainment. Little did she know just how entertaining things were about to become. The diplomatic transmission sent ripples through the galactic community. A summons from Queen Xylara was one thing, but requesting a human. Pure madness, according to most species. The rumors spread faster than a quantum virus through the communication networks. "Your Majesty," Nekthos pleaded during their morning strategy session. "The reports about humans are disturbing. They come from a death world with gravity 1.3 times our standard. Their endurance is beyond reasonable limits. They continue fighting even when their bodies should have given up. "Wonderful," Lara exclaimed, causing her advisor's tentacles to curl in distress. "Finally, something worth watching. Have the responses started arriving?" "Yes, Your Luminescence." The human diplomatic corps sent their initial reply. They're actually eager to participate. Nekthos's voice quivered with disbelief. The selection process proved more interesting than any arena match in recent memory. The humans, showing their typical lack of proper protocol, had turned it into some sort of competition among themselves. They called it the Zentari Challenge and broadcast it across their networks. Security Minister Vex Thor burst into the throne room one morning, his scales flushed with agitation. "Your Majesty must see this," he projected a hologram showing human combat trials. The gathered courtiers watched in horror as humans broke combat robots, shattered training drones, and demonstrated fighting styles that seemed to defy both physics and sanity. "How do they move like that?" someone whispered. "Their joints shouldn't bend that way." Did that one just smile after being hit? Are they enjoying this? Queen Zalara leaned forward, absolutely delighted. "Show me the finalists." The selection narrowed to 3 candidates. The first, a hulking male who specialized in something called mixed martial arts, was impressive but predictable. The second, a military combat instructor, showed promise but lacked that spark of chaos Zalara sought. But the third? Oh, the third was perfect. Maya Blackwood stood 1.7 meters tall, with dark skin and a complex pattern of decorative scars that the humans called tattoos crossing her arms and neck. Her combat record was, in a word, unconventional. Former circus acrobat turned professional fighter, with a side specialty in ancient earth weapons. Her fighting style mixed elements from a dozen different disciplines with what humans called street fighting. "She's the one," Zalara declared, watching Maya's qualification match. The human moved like liquid mercury, flowing around her opponent's attacks before striking with devastating precision. More importantly, she fought with a playful grace that bordered on disrespect. "But Your Majesty," Nekthos protested, "her official combat ranking is lower than the others." "Exactly. She's unpredictable. Look at her face. She's having fun." Zalara's sensory ridges quivered with anticipation. "Send the formal invitation. I want her here for the next lunar alignment." As the bureaucratic machinery of the Empire ground into motion, preparing for their unusual guest, rumors about Maya Blackwood spread through the capital. They said she'd once defeated 3 opponents while blindfolded. They said she laughed during combat. They said she'd never lost a match, not because she couldn't be beaten, but because she refused to acknowledge defeat. They said a lot of things. Soon they'd see the truth. In the sacred preparation chambers beneath the grand arena, Champion Kraz Thul underwent his pre-battle rituals. Maintenance drones swarmed around him, checking his cybernetic enhancements and polishing his battle armor until it gleamed like liquid metal. His record stood at 312 victories, 0 defeats. The last serious injury he'd sustained was so long ago that most citizens weren't even born yet. "Tell me about this human," he rumbled to his technical supervisor, a spindly Kixtari named Xin Pal. "Physically unremarkable by most standards," Xin Pal replied, adjusting a power coupling in Kraz Thul's shoulder. "No cybernetic enhancements, no genetic modifications, not even basic neural upgrades, just organic meat and bones." The technician's mandibles clicked in amusement. They didn't even accept our offer of temporary combat enhancements. Kraz Thul's secondary hearts pulsed with contempt. They sent such a creature against me? This is an insult to the arena itself. Through the chamber's crystal walls, they could hear the growing roar of the crowd above. The arena was already at maximum capacity, with millions more watching via neural feeds across the Empire. News of the human challenger had drawn unprecedented attention. Private betting pools had sprung up everywhere, though few wagered on the human survival, let alone victory. "There is one detail you should know," Xin Pal added, making a final adjustment. "During transport to our facility, the human's vital signs remained oddly stable. No elevation in stress hormones, no anxiety markers, almost as if. As if what? As if they're not afraid at all." Kraz Thul laughed, the sound echoing off the chamber walls. "Then they are either foolish or insane, perhaps both." Meanwhile, in the challenger's preparation chamber, Maya Blackwood was causing considerable distress among the ceremonial attendants. Instead of accepting the traditional pre-battle medicines and enhancement serums, she was doing something called stretching while humming an ancient earth melody. Honored challenger, the chief attendant pleaded, his crystalline form shimmering with anxiety. You must allow us to apply the sacred unguents. It is tradition. Maya executed a perfect handstand, speaking from her inverted position. No thanks. Just need my own gear and some space to warm up. She transitioned smoothly into a one-handed stance, though I wouldn't say no to some water. The attendants huddled together, their crystalline forms resonating with confusion. This wasn't how challengers were supposed to behave. They should be either terrified or aggressively boasting, not whatever this was. In her private viewing chamber, Queen Zylara watched both preparation feeds with growing excitement. Look at them, she said to Nekthos. The perfect contrast. Technology versus tradition, enhancement versus natural ability, proven champion versus unknown variable. Your Majesty seems unusually invested in this match, Nekthos observed cautiously. Because for the first time in centuries, I genuinely don't know what will happen. Zylara's scales rippled with anticipation. Our reports on humans are contradictory at best. Some say they're barely sentient primates who got lucky with their technology. Others claim they're space demons who can bend reality through sheer stubbornness. The ceremonial horns began to sound, their deep vibrations shaking the very foundations of the arena. It was time. In the champion's chamber, Kraz Thul activated his full battle systems. Hydraulics hissed, power cells hummed, and targeting systems came online. His armor, a masterpiece of Zentari engineering, transformed him into a living weapon. Each piece was worth more than most planetary defense systems. In the challenger's chamber, Maya pulled on a simple black combat suit, flexed her fingers inside lightweight gloves, and cracked her neck. When offered the traditional weapon selection, she chose only a small polymer staff that extended to roughly her own height. That's all you want? The weapon master asked incredulously. We have plasma cannons, quantum disruptors, neural scramblers. That Maya spun the staff experimentally, a small smile playing at her lips. This will do nicely. The final horn sounded. The crystal walls pulsed with anticipation. Throughout the arena, the crowd fell into an expectant hush. It was time for the game to begin. The grand arena fell into absolute silence as the two massive doors at opposite ends began to open. The crystal walls pulsed with deep purple anticipation, reflecting the collective tension of 2 million spectators. Even the atmospheric processors seemed to hold their breath. From the champion's gate emerged Kraz Thul, his enhanced form towering 4 meters tall. Hydraulics whirred with each thunderous step, plasma fields crackling around his armor. The ground trembled beneath his feet as he approached the center circle, sunlight gleaming off his chrome plating. From the challenger's gate came Maya Blackwood, walking with the casual grace of someone taking a pleasant stroll through a park. Her simple black combat suit and polymer staff created such a stark contrast to her opponent that several spectators activated their visual feeds multiple times, convinced they must be malfunctioning. Look how small it is, someone in the diplomatic section whispered. Surely this is some kind of joke. Queen Zylara leaned forward on her throne, sensory ridges quivering. Notice how she moves, she murmured to Nekthos, like a predator pretending to be prey. The two competitors reached their designated starting positions. Kraz Thul towered over Maya, his shadow completely engulfing her. The size difference was almost comical. His smallest arm was thicker than her entire torso. Combat protocols require me to ask. Kraz Thul's voice boomed through his external speakers. Do you wish to forfeit? Maya looked up at him, twirling her staff absently. Nah, I'm good. Nice armor, by the way, very shiny. The champion's targeting systems ran multiple scans, searching for hidden weapons or technological advantages. They found nothing, just flesh, bone, and a polymer staff that wouldn't even scratch his armor's paint. The arena's AI announced the traditional opening. Champions of blood and honor, you know the rules. Combat continues until submission, incapacitation, or death. Queen Zylara presides. May your combat bring glory to the Empire. A single pure note rang through the arena. The match had begun. Kraz Thul didn't waste time with fancy moves or showmanship. He activated his thrust generators and launched forward, hydraulic fist moving at speeds that could punch through spacecraft hull plating. It was a killing blow. designed to end the fight in seconds and spare the human any prolonged suffering. The fist hit nothing but air. Maya wasn't there anymore. She had shifted slightly, barely moving, yet somehow the massive attack had missed completely. More surprisingly, she was still twirling that staff, as if nothing had happened. "Almost had me there," she said cheerfully. "Want to try again?" The crowd's collective confusion resonated through the crystal walls, turning them a bewildered shade of green. Krasthul's combat systems recalibrated, adding additional tracking parameters. He launched a combination of strikes, each capable of shattering reinforced bunkers. Maya moved like water, flowing around each attack with millimeters to spare. She never blocked, never countered, just wasn't where the attacks landed. All while maintaining that same relaxed posture, as if she was dancing to music only she could hear. Most peculiar, Nekthos observed, checking his sensor readings. The human's vital signs show no elevation. Heart rate normal, breathing steady. Almost as if she's not even trying yet. Sylara finished, her scales flushing with excitement. Krasthul's attacks became faster, more precise. He activated his full combat protocols, bringing online weapons that could level small cities. Plasma bursts, sonic pulses, and graviton waves filled the air. The arena's protective barriers flared repeatedly, containing the destructive energy. Yet somehow, the human kept dodging. Not frantically or desperately, but with an almost playful grace. She moved through the storm of attacks like someone taking a leisurely walk through falling snowflakes. Fascinating footwork, someone in the military observer's box noted. She's mapped every attack pattern and found the gaps, but that's impossible without a combat computer. The champion's frustration became evident. His attacks grew stronger but less controlled. Sweat began to appear on his organic parts, while warning indicators flickered across his armor's displays. Energy reserves were depleting faster than expected. Maya called out, ducking under a plasma burst that melted part of the arena floor. "You're really good at this, but you might want to take a breath. Your targeting is getting a bit sloppy." The crowd didn't know how to react. Some began to laugh nervously. Others sat in stunned silence. The crystal walls swirled with conflicting emotions, creating a dizzying light show. Then Maya stopped dodging. In mid-attack, she suddenly stepped forward instead of away. Her staff moved in a simple arc, almost too fast to see. There was a quiet tap. Krasthul's right arm, the one about to unleash a devastating energy blast, went completely limp. The arena erupted in chaos. The champion stared at his unresponsive limb in disbelief. Warning messages flooded his neural interface. Somehow that tiny tap had overloaded every servo and circuit in his arm's cybernetic systems. Maya resumed her relaxed stance, staff resting lightly against her shoulder. "Now," then she said with a bright smile, "shall we start getting serious?" The stunned silence lasted precisely 3 seconds before Krasthul roared. His armor reconfigured, compensating for the disabled arm by redirecting power to remaining systems. Warning messages flooded his neural interface, but he ignored them. No human, no primitive creature would make him look foolish in his arena. Combat systems at 130% capacity, his armor's AI warned. Exceeding recommended safety limits. Maya watched the champion's transformation with genuine interest. Oh, pushing past the safeties? Careful there, big guy. Might hurt yourself. The attack that followed defied conventional physics. Krasthul became a blur of motion, his remaining limbs unleashing a storm of strikes that turned the air itself into plasma. The arena's force fields flared continuously, struggling to contain the energy being released. But something had changed. The crowd saw it. Queen Sylara saw it. Most importantly, Krasthul felt it. The human wasn't just dodging anymore. Maya's staff became a silver arc of motion, deflecting attacks with precise taps that sent shockwaves of disruption through the champion's systems. Each touch disabled another weapon, overloaded another sensor cluster, or shut down another power conduit. "Impossible," the technical supervisor Zinpal whispered, watching the readings. "She's hitting exact weakness points that aren't even in the public schematics." Krasthul switched tactics, activating his area denial systems. The arena floor around him became a death zone of energy fields and gravity distortions. No organic being should have been able to even stand in that maelstrom. Maya danced through it. There was no other word for it. Her movements flowed like liquid mercury, finding paths that shouldn't exist. The staff spun in complex patterns, somehow dispersing energy fields that could vaporize tanks. The human's neural patterns are fascinating, the medical observer reported. They suggest she's actually enjoying this. And she was. Maya's laughter rang through the arena, not mocking but genuinely delighted. Now that's more like it. Love the gravity tricks. Very creative. Kraz Thol's organic parts began showing signs of strain. Sweat poured down his scales and his breathing became labored. The human hadn't even broken a sweat. You know what your problem is, Maya called out, sliding under a blast that left a molten crater in the arena floor. You're fighting like your armor makes you invincible, but nothing's invincible. To demonstrate her point, she suddenly changed direction. Instead of dodging the next attack, she stepped into it. Her staff moved in 3 precise strikes, too fast for most spectators to follow. Kraz Thol's left leg locked up completely. Secondary power systems crashed. Emergency backups kicked in, but they were already showing signs of strain. What are you? He gasped, stumbling as his systems tried to compensate. Just someone who really enjoys a good fight. Maya's smile never wavered. Though I have to say, all these cybernetics, they make you a bit predictable. Machines always follow patterns, you know. The champion's combat computer frantically recalculated, trying to find a solution. It projected thousands of possible attack combinations, ran millions of simulations. None of them ended in victory. In the royal observation deck, Queen Zylara was practically vibrating with excitement. Do you see it, Nekthos? The human isn't just fighting, she's teaching. Teaching, Your Majesty. Every move is a lesson. She's showing him exactly why he's going to lose before she does it. The next exchange proved her point. Maya moved into Kraz Thol's guard, her staff becoming a blur of motion. Each strike was preceded by a quiet comment. Over-reliance on targeting systems tap. Main sensor array went dark. Poor weight distribution tap. Stabilization gyros failed, telegraphing your moves tap. Another weapon cluster disabled. The champion of the Zentari Empire, terror of the galaxy, found himself experiencing an alien sensation fear. His armor, worth more than some planetary economies, was being systematically dismantled by a primitive weapon wielded by an unaugmented human. The crowd watched in stunned silence as Maya began herding Kraz Thol across the arena. Each step was calculated, each position chosen with careful precision. She was setting up something, but none of the military observers could figure out what. Your armor's beautiful, Maya commented, almost conversationally. Really, top-notch engineering. But you want to know its fatal flaw. Kraz Thol tried to respond with a plasma burst. The weapon sputtered and died. It's too perfect, she continued. So perfect that you forgot how to fight without it. Want me to prove it? The staff blurred again. This time, Maya struck 23 points in less than 2 seconds. Each hit corresponded to a key power junction or control node. Total systems failure cascaded through the champion's armor. Emergency protocols tried to engage but found their circuits already compromised. Backup power cells initiated their activation sequence and immediately shut down. The mighty Kraz Thol, encased in his multi-ton armor, stood frozen in the center of the arena. Maya stopped in front of him, staff resting casually on her shoulder. By the way, she said with a wink, I learned all your armor's weak points while you were trying to hit me earlier. Your hydraulics make different sounds when they pass near critical junctions. Fascinating engineering, really. The arena's crystal walls pulsed with colors that hadn't been seen in centuries, unable to properly categorize the emotions of the spectators. In the deafening silence of the arena, Maya Blackwood circled the frozen champion, tapping his armor with her staff. Each contact produced a different tone, like a musician testing an instrument. The crowd held their collective breath, multiple species forgetting their basic biological functions in their shock. So here's your choice, Maya announced, her voice carrying clearly through the stunned arena. I can shut down your armor's life support systems with one more hit, which would be an instant victory, but probably uncomfortable for you. Or you can power down voluntarily, and we can end this as professionals. Your call. The crystalline walls of the arena flickered between colors so rapidly that several spectators reported feelings of dizziness. In the diplomatic section, representatives from 17 different species were simultaneously demanding secure communication channels to their governments. Queen Zalara rose from her throne, all four eyes wide with delight. Magnificent. Absolutely magnificent. Inside his paralyzed armor, Kraz Thul's mind raced. 312 victories, 0 defeats. A reputation built over centuries, all about to end at the hands of an unaugmented human with a stick. His voice crackled through partially functioning speakers. I yield. The words seemed to hang in the air, defying reality itself. Several of the younger spectators turned to their elders, asking if there was a translation error. Surely the champion hadn't just. Maya's smile brightened. Excellent choice. She stepped back and bowed, a gesture of respect that somehow made the whole scene even more surreal. That was genuinely fun. Your high-frequency plasma modulation was particularly clever. The arena's AI, after several seconds of apparent confusion, finally managed to process the situation. Victory is awarded to Maya Blackwood of Earth. All bets will be settled according to Regulations Section 47 billion, subsection 12 Unexpected Outcome Protocols. Queen Zylara's laughter rang through the royal observation deck. Neck those. Did you see? Did you see how she turned his own technological superiority against him? How she found the patterns in his combat systems while appearing to merely dodge? Yes, Your Majesty, the advisor replied, his tentacles twisted in knots of anxiety, though the implications for our military doctrine are concerning. Concerning? Their revolutionary Zylara activated the arena's direct communication channel. Human warrior Maya Blackwood, you will attend me in the royal reception chamber immediately. Meanwhile, technical crews rushed to assist the fallen champion. As power slowly returned to his systems, Kraz Thul found himself facing not humiliation, but a strange sort of respect from his support team. The way she disabled the quantum stabilizers without triggering the safety overrides, one technician whispered. Pure genius. Did you see how she identified the command pathways just by sound? Another added. That shouldn't be possible. Maya approached the technical team, still carrying her staff. Hey, sorry about all the system crashes. I tried to keep the damage to software only, but some of those power junctions might need recalibration. She pointed to specific spots on the armor. Especially here, here, and here. The resonance frequencies got a bit scrambled. The technical supervisor, Zinpal, stared at her in disbelief. You understand our technology? Not really, Maya shrugged. But patterns are patterns, whether they're in martial arts or quantum mechanics. By the way, your phase shift compensators are brilliant. Never seen anything like them. As Maya was escorted to the royal reception chamber, the arena erupted into chaos. Bookmakers declared a holiday, knowing their profit margins had just become legendary. Military observers frantically compiled reports. Diplomatic agents tried to figure out how this would affect various treaties and power structures. But perhaps most telling was the reaction of the arena's crystal walls. They settled into a color never before recorded in Zentari history, a swirling mixture of wonder and possibility. In her private chamber, Queen Zylara dismissed her advisors and smiled to herself. Finally, she whispered, something new under the sun. She activated her secure communication array. Connect me to the human diplomatic corps. I believe it's time we revised some of our assumptions about our galactic neighbors. The day wasn't over yet, and already the galaxy was changing. 3 cycles after the historic duel, the grand arena of 7 moons had changed dramatically. The traditional victory feasts were replaced by what humans called workshops, where warriors from across the galaxy gathered to learn about different combat styles. The crystal walls now regularly displayed colors previously unknown in Zentari culture. Queen Zalara sat in her private study, watching recordings of the famous match for the 112th time. Next to her, Maya Blackwood lounged comfortably in a specially designed chair, sipping something called bubble tea. So you're telling me, Zylara said, pausing the recording, that you weren't even using your species' most advanced combat techniques? Maya grinned. Your champion was good, but he wasn't ready for the really crazy stuff. Besides, pulling out the advanced moves would have been showing off. The queen's scales rippled with amusement, and what you did wasn't showing off. That was teaching. Maya took another sip. Big difference. In the weeks following the duel, the Zentari Empire had undergone more changes than in the previous 1,000 years. Military doctrine was being completely rewritten. The obsession with cybernetic enhancement was giving way to a more balanced approach. Some warriors even started training without their armor, much to the horror of traditionalists. The other species are nervous-necked, those reported during his daily briefing. They think we formed some sort of secret alliance with the humans. Let them wonder, Silara replied. Meanwhile, have the diplomatic corps approved my proposal? Yes, Your Majesty. The first exchange program begins next cycle. 50 of our warriors will train on Earth, while 50 human instructors will come here. The most surprising change had come from Kraz Thul himself. After having his armor repaired, he'd done something unprecedented. He'd asked Maya for lessons. Now he split his time between traditional combat and what he called baseline training. But the real revelation came during a private conversation between Queen and human, late one evening. Tell me the truth, Silara said, watching Maya demonstrate a simple kata. You knew about our technology long before the match, didn't you? Maya's movements didn't pause. We humans have a saying, the best way to understand someone is to let them underestimate you. So the stories about humans being primitive warriors were exactly what we wanted people to believe. Maya completed her form and bowed. Just like you wanted everyone to believe Zentari technology made you invincible. Silara's scales flushed with appreciation for the strategy. A galaxy-wide deception. More like a galaxy-wide lesson in assumptions. Maya sat down, her expression thoughtful. Humans aren't stronger or smarter than other species. We're just really, really good at adapting. And sometimes, the best way to teach that lesson is to let others teach it to themselves. The Queen let out a delighted laugh. So my demand for a human duelist was exactly what we'd been waiting for. An opportunity to show rather than tell. As news of the duel spread through the galaxy, other species began requesting human duelists for their own arenas. Each time, the humans sent someone different, with a different style, different approach, different lessons to teach. The Zentari Empire, once known only for its technological superiority, became famous for something new, being the first to truly understand their human neighbors. And in the grand arena, where Maya's staff had first tapped against Kraz Thul's armor, a small plaque was installed. It bore a simple human phrase that Queen Silara had found particularly fitting. The best victory is one where both sides win. Below it, in smaller text, just make sure you have fun doing it, MB.